Oh, this is Coach Rose AJ in the His House. This is another edition of the Carnivore Connection where you have heartfelt and soulful conversations. And today, you guys, me and Annie, we just talked for like 30 seconds. And I said, I'm going to just hit go, girl, because she was sharing something already that has occurred from the carnivore diet. So I said, girl, we're going to just hit live and start talking. But anyway, who I have with me today is Annie, the English carnivore, and the English carnivore gal, right?
Yep.
Or
Yep.
should I take off the English? Or is it
No,
English
English
carnivore? Okay.
carnival girl.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And she's on YouTube as well as Instagram. And we've kind of like built a relationship and been following each other since I would say like March or so. And she's just coming back to chat with me. We're going to just catch up and we are going to see what's been happening in both our worlds since we last talked about a month ago. So, Annie, would you like to refresh people's memory for about 30 seconds of who you are?
Yes, I live in the south of England, on the south coast, in a place in Hampshire, which is the county I live in. Very lucky to generally in a sunnier climate than the rest of the country, but lately it's been a bit miserable. But there you go. I've been doing carnivore for 7 months now, just over 7 months, and I'm completely and utterly blown away by the benefits it's given to me and my lifestyle and my positivity and my happiness. And I just want to pass this on. And Rose and I are very much of the same understanding that somewhere out there's another auntie, mother, sister, or someone that needs to know this information. So it's simple, straightforward, and people just need to listen. So
Right on. And even if they don't listen at this time, hopefully, voices that are women over 50 that have been through the life change, menopause, perimenopause, and that are hitting higher notes after 50 will
mhm.
resonate with them at some point in time because you're a
Yes.
few years older than I am, right? And
Yep.
so at the beginning, when we first opened up, we're like, hi, how you doing? And then I just said, let's hit record because I didn't want you to share what you just shared with me without including the audience. So
No,
can you
it's
go
great.
ahead and share with us what you were starting to show me?
Yeah, well, I'm 65 in November. So coming to the stage where I want to be fit for grandchildren to be able to lift. So I, like all of us, I colour my roots, my hair's staying darker for longer. And here is all new baby hair, just growing. And I keep having to push it back. And I was doing that when I first said hello to Rose. So wanted to share you some of the miraculous changes that have happened to me in just 7 months. I've got a nasty varicose vein that I'm waiting to go away, and I know it will happen. So that's one of the last things I'm waiting for. But it's been quite life changing, all of the improvements and the mental clarity. So it's just good to share.
So the baby hair, was there breakage around there or were you experiencing no hair? What was going
Well,
on?
no, I've always been blessed with thick hair. I mean, all of the girls in my family have, and not. I always have hair loss when I wash my hair, and the longer I leave it, the more hair loss you get, which is, quite normal. I'm not too worried about that. But I just noticed all of a sudden this new baby hair just growing, little tufts of hair. It's not breaking; it's just growing. My hair doesn't often break; it's very thick, and it's just little tufts of hair that I notice. And if I look in the mirror and I'm driving in the car, I just see this dark bit here, which is a bit odd. So I just
So
have to remember to push it back.
So were you having like the reason I'm asking this, were you having like a receding hairline a little bit then if there
No,
wasn't?
no, it's just
No?
no receding
Wow.
hairline. It's just extra hair here.
You
Look, it's
know,
just short.
I love it. I love
It's
it.
just so wonderful that I feel I'm at my body's optimum, and my clarity is optimum. I feel happy. I went to a retreat day yesterday with a very good friend of mine, and we did some meditation and forest walking. I don't know if you know about forest walking, Rose.
Well, I think some people and I have been discussing
Yeah,
grounding with a
grounding.
mat, and then
Yeah.
earthing, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Earthing.
Well,
Okay, so is it
earthing.
like
Yeah, it's similar. It's earthing or grounding, barefoot in the grass,
mhm,
and just letting the positive ions of energy come naturally from the earth into your body. I must say, I do love walking in the forest, and it comes from the Japanese forest bathing, where you spend time in nature. And this is one of my new um, philosophies in life, really, that I want to have more time in nature for me, be able to understand, feel my senses, deep breathe, smell, touch, feel, hear, and take in the moment. And I generally take a little notebook with me and pick up anything that's quite nice going on around me as I'm there. And it just gives you time. And if you deep breathe and do your sequences of deep breathing into your stomach, like the yogic breathing, time goes by and you can sit under a tree for half an hour and not realize where the time's gone. But it's a very nice way of, because I'm always busy. I'm a Sagittarian and I'm always rushing around and stuff going on. So this is part of me slowing down a bit, I suppose, but not slowing down that I want to change my rate. I just want to keep understanding and taking in every moment, hearing the birds, for
mhm.
example.
So is that kind of like really a form of meditation that you take in when you're out in nature?
I suppose it is. Yeah, I suppose it is. I mean, it depends on everyone. If you call meditation meditation, some people might be put off and think it's a bit woo woo, meditation. It's not really that. It's being within yourself, understanding your breath. If you sit and breathe slowly and just concentrate, close your eyes. Even with my grandson, I'll say, Rex, close your eyes. What can you hear? It's just being in the moment. I think that gives you so much in return to what you've given out all your life. And it's just something for you that nobody can take away.
Okay. Well, okay. On that same principle, Annie, I think with working out for me, that's my meditation, like active meditation,
Yeah.
because it's like I'm in another realm. I'm aware of where I'm at and that
Yes.
people are around me, but I'm in a zone, in a flow, right? So I
Yeah.
think that would parallel with what you're talking about with but just a different way of doing it.
Oh, most definitely,
Yeah.
Rose. And you and I know, I got up this morning, I felt quite heavy and sleepy this morning. Came downstairs, I could have easily sat, had a cup of tea, put on the news, and thought, no, jogging gear on, went straight out, I don't jog, I sprint. So I went straight out this morning, did my 10 sprints. I do 10 30-second sprints with a quiet phase in between, so a bit of hit training. I do that in the morning and it's, oh my God, it's amazing. It's just made such a change to me physically, mentally. Came back, got in my cold dip, which is sitting outside my back door. Just got in there and I love it because I get in my backyard completely naked. Nobody can see me. So I just get in it, go up and have a shower. And it's just the start of the day. It's just making yourself think of yourself and do things that are positive.
Now, is this something that you practice year round? Like, I get up in the morning and I exercise first thing in the morning. That's year round, regardless. It's just, something that I've disciplined in myself. And then in the afternoon, like after eating and stuff, I get on my equipment here, 10 minutes on the treadmill, 20 minutes on the rower, whatever. I just remain active, right?
Yeah.
So is that a part of your protocol year round, or do you do that mostly when the weather is preferential to be outside sprinting?
No,
Or
I don't do it every day because obviously I need my muscles to recover, being
no,
a
I
certain
mean I
age.
mean year
Oh, sorry.
round, like January through December. Do you practice it year round, or is it like
Oh,
spring
yes.
and
Yeah.
summer?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've been out in the sleet and the snow, and it's just invigorating. You come back with a red face, and your cold dip's ice cold, and you get in there and then a hot shower. I haven't got a sauna, but I know the benefits of sauna. So I go upstairs and I put my shower on as hot as I can stand. So I go from cold to hot and do the extreme temperature. And
Oh,
yeah,
mm.
I think it's pretty
You're
good for
taking
me.
advantage of everything, all the
Yes.
elements, as well as the cold dip and the hot shower. Okay.
And the daylight in the morning, Rose, early morning
Mm.
lights, when you sit in your cold dip and the sun's coming up and the birds are over the head. And here we don't get a huge amount of sunshine, but when we do, it's wonderful. But I love every moment of that sun. And I've even improved my eyesight from getting the early morning sun into my eyes.
Speaking of which, my eyesight has improved also, but how has your eyesight improved?
Well, I didn't ever have I wasn't very, very poor sighted. These are, I don't know how you grade them in the States. These are 1.75s, if that's similar.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I basically have been wearing contact lenses for a while. I've just cancelled all my contact lenses. I don't need them anymore. I don't need my glasses at all to drive. I can read my phone clearly now on it. Whereas before, I mean, these I've put on because I was just going through some old notes, but I can see perfectly all right without them. And that's a massive improvement. And I know getting the early morning sun every day, if you can, not literally into your eyeballs, but to have the sunlight going through your eyelids, it's known to be able to benefit your sight.
Mm.
And I'm going to fight anything to do with my eyes as long as I can. I don't want to
I
give in to anything medical.
so I've been wearing contacts or glasses since I was like in the 8th grade, right? I
Yeah.
started wearing contacts when I was 20 full time. So when I turned about 19, 20 full time contacts, and my prescription generally has been like minus 4.25 in both left and right eyes. When I turned
Right.
about 45, 48, somewhere up in there, I started having to wear like readers like you did, like
Yeah.
readers over my contacts, right? And then finally, a doctor got wise and said, let me just change one of the lenses so you no longer have to use the additional hardware. And that worked perfectly. Then my eyesight started changing even more when I went carnivore. So in one of my eyes, it's still the minus 4.25. The other one is minus 1.75.
Wow. Wow.
So I don't wear any additional readers. I still wear my contacts and have glasses that,
Yeah.
glasses for the emergency.
It's a
And
great feeling, isn't it?
yeah, so it does get better with time. So, look, we've talked about eyesight. And what I'm hoping, I don't know if I shared with you, but on Mother's Day, I decided to stop wearing wigs, weaves, and braids and to
Wow.
take a break, right? So I'm wearing my natural hair, but I've also decided not to go back to, wearing extensions and stuff like that because I've reacclimated to my natural hair.
Good for
I
you.
have a lot of alopecia. I don't know if you can see it,
No,
but a
no.
lot of alopecia around my edges.
Yeah.
So, oh, hello.
Oh, sorry.
Did we just black out, girl? Girl, what
No,
happened?
can you see me?
I think
Steve's just come in the
I
back door. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, no, well, that's fine. I mean, we blacked out because I think it's just my internet, the way my office is set up, whatever.
Oh,
But so I have alopecia and up here I have balding, right? So I'm
yeah.
hoping that I will get some natural hair growth coming back now that I'm not putting all the gels and weaves and tightening and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So I will keep you posted on that. And we've
Yeah,
talked,
that would
like I
be
said,
good.
about eyesight, but you mentioned what I know about you is that you like to learn one new thing a month,
Yeah.
right? So, can you tell us what you've learned that was new since the last time we talked? Either you did it this month, last month, or whatever.
Yeah, this month I actually attended a sound bath, which was quite amazing. I don't know if anyone's done that or heard of it, but a sound bath is a Tibetan bowl and they're made of bronze, and the person using it bashes it like a gong and then circulates the stick around it, and it makes a vibration that goes around the room, which is quite incredible. You feel it through your whole body. And I attended a sound bath this month, and it was absolutely amazing. And if anyone out there ever gets the chance to attend, it's so amazing because it literally vibrates. And we all know probably now with quantum physics, we're all atoms, and everything we touch is atoms spinning around and vibrating. And it's just incredible. I felt like the ground was swallowing me, and I was sinking into the ground. It was just amazing. So that's what I did this month. Last month, what did I do last month? I'm just trying to think now. I try and do something like go somewhere new or do something new that I might not have done before. I try a new recipe, carnivore recipe, if I can as well. But yeah, just a bit of painting, maybe try something different on the art side of things, or I might try and sew something new when I get time because I still work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a matter of doing something new and it's a lovely way to reward yourself and to look forward to something in that month. And it doesn't have to cost a lot. You can just do anything. It's amazing.
Well, I like the fact that you did a sound bath. I mean, I've seen those, on the airwaves. I've seen them like advertised on like Instagram and stuff like that, but that's
Mm.
never really piqued my interest, right?
No,
I'm like,
no.
maybe I need to stretch and grow, but is there anything that you've ever seen that you're like, "Nah, that's not for me," but you tried it anyway? Okay, so
Yeah.
before you answer that. So, I was walking past a store window in this area that I'm in. There's a new hot yoga studio, and what always attracts my mind, but I don't do yoga, right? But what always attracts my mind is learning and
Yeah.
being actively involved. And,
Yes. Yeah.
they had a big sign on the window that said, two 200 hours of yoga training to become an instructor to work with us, right? And they said Saturday and Sundays from like 1 to 4. But I entertained the thought. I'm like, "I don't like yoga. It's not my jam, but I could learn how to do it because of the
Yeah.
training." And then I was like, "Ooh, that's a lot of time.
Mm.
I'm not gonna be teaching no yoga. No." And I just went on, but the fact that I paused and really thought about it, but it
Yeah,
might be
that's good.
something that I investigate in the future. If it was like 1 day for 8
Yeah.
hours for X amount of months, I could do it, but not both days. That's just like too overcommitment for me.
And
But
that,
anyway, so
yeah, it's you've got a lot going on, so you've got
yeah,
to balance your time.
yeah. So what's something that, you've seen that maybe you kinda, like, stopped and paused at, but said, "Nah, that's not for me," and then you actually went and did it? Is there
I
anything?
did a flotation tank, and it's a sort of space age looking white modular unit. And I just thought, nah, it's not for me. And a girlfriend said, "Oh, I'm going to try it. Would you like to come?" And it was amazing. And you literally are floating in water, and you're completely weightless and soundless. And it's the most incredible thing. So I'd definitely say, but that's something that people could and couldn't like because of the claustrophobia feeling. But I definitely, there's not a lot that will put me off. I think what you're referring to now is you're a bit younger than me. You're working lots of hours. You've got your commitment to your clients that you work with, and you balance out what's best for you with time, don't you?
Yeah.
Whereas I go of the mindset that
Uh-oh. Did we freeze? I don't know if you can hear me, but you might have to pop back out and hit the link again if you don't unfreeze, Annie. But speaking of the flotation tank, I did that a couple of times and I really didn't like it, but I had bought a package and stuck with it for the duration of the package. But okay, y'all. So Annie might have to come back on with us. But if anybody is out there listening, please chime in the conversation and kind of let us know what you have been doing to improve your life circumstances and whatnot. And so, guys, it's hot here in the Pacific Northwest. Really, like really, really, really like super hot. How are you guys staying cool? I've been doing more thing indoors versus outdoors to kind of like stay out of the sweltering sun. But when I'm out in it, I totally love it and feel like I have to take 2 or 3 showers, right? And so today, what I'm doing today is I'm going to be doing a couple of things here at the house. I've already went and worked out, came back, and I'm doing a couple of things here at the house. And then I go pick up my Lanietas, which are my granddaughters, at 1 today. And we are going to go hang out, and I'm going to take them shopping for some things that we'll need for, or that they'll need for Hawaii, like some swimsuits, some bags, backpacks and stuff like that that can double over into the fall and stuff, but I'm going to spend time with them. And the most interesting thing is I generally eat at 3 p.m. every day, but today I'm going to stretch my eating window to start at about 6:30. So after I take the girls home, I'll come home and eat a little later than normal. And you know, our bodies, we get so used to doing things at a certain time that it's kind of like, is it really biology or am I really hungry? So on days like that, what I do is recently I bought some sardines. I've been on a sardine kick, but I refuse to eat them straight out of the can. I mash them up and add bacon grease and heat them up. But I've also purchased a thing of what do you call it? Like Vienna sausage, Libby's Vienna sausages. And I will be taking 3 cans with me. And if I'm really, really wanting to eat something, I will pop open a can of Vienna sausages and let that tide me over until I actually get home. So I am not sure. I'm texting Annie now to see what's up. So I don't know if it's a connection from her side or what, but that's how it goes, right? Sometimes you can. But what do you guys do when you get in a state and you're out and about and you're hungry? Do you go grab burgers without the bun? Do you carry beef jerky with you? What do you guys do? So one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was the last time that Annie and I talked. She had mentioned a couple of things. Um, she had mentioned a couple of things that she cooks, and one of them was something like bloody beef or something like that, and then another one was faggots, and those are things I hadn't heard of. So I was going to ask her today to talk about how she actually prepares them and what animal they're from and all that good stuff. And I was also going to ask her, or I am. Okay, hold on. So if she's not on in about 2 or 3 minutes, I'm just going to end this live. And maybe it's just a connection from her end that she can't get back on. But anyway, so I wanted to ask her about, you know, about those two meats that she mentioned and how she prepared them and what are they famous for. And if she uses a food tracker. Do you guys use a food tracker? Come on now, be real. Do you use a food tracker? Do you believe in the calorie perception or the calorie myth or however you want to call it? And if you do use a tracker, are you tracking all macros or are you tracking something specific, meaning your protein and fat? What are you using when you track? So I use Chronometer. chronometer, and I do plug in my food that I'm eating. And I'm not looking specifically for carbs because I'm not about that life, even though carbs do occur naturally in some things like eggs, but that's not where I'm focused at. My focus is more of perhaps looking at the fat macros and the did I just lose my mind right there? The fat and the protein, and then the total calorie, the total energy. And it's not necessarily that I use that as a guide 110% of the time, but I like to just plug it in, look at it so I know, but it's not something that guides me 110% and I stick to or look back on for days on end. Now, one thing that I can tell you guys is that with this heat that's been here, I love Tarantino sausages, like little breakfast sausage links and stuff, but
Hi. Oh,
I but with sausage links and stuff, and I've been eating bacon like crazy. But y'all, I'm gonna be candid with you. I gained like 7 pounds, 7 pounds in 5 days between this heat and the bacon because of the sodium. Okay, so I had to back my ass up off of that bacon real quick, like I was allergic to the bitch. Okay, but I backed up so quick, y'all. I was like, not this diva, but it was all water retention along with the heat. And then I have been doing my electrolytes because when it's really hot and we're sweating a lot, I do believe in supplementing. So I do use the LMNT raw, the raw. And so between all of that, y'all, okay, so I've only got like 2 more pounds to lose. So I backed up off of that bacon like 3, 4 days ago, and the water released from the heat and the LMNT. And y'all, hopefully, when I check in with myself tomorrow morning, I'll be back to my normal. And it might be a quick minute, a long minute before I touch bacon or sausage with this heat, y'all. But Annie, I just been running my mouth, and thank goodness you're back, girl, because I was like, if she can't come back on, oh, so there's some comments. So Annie, why don't you tell us what had happened?
sorry, it's very
Because
stormy here. It's and I think the internet, the Wi-Fi just blew out, so it's all come back on.
okay, so I'm gonna pay
Sorry.
attention to the chat for just a minute. Do you remember where we were at? We were talking about something. Oh, about so you were talking about your tank and scheduling, and we were talking about yoga and whatnot. And you were saying that I was placing more of an interest or more of an emphasis because I'm working and interest
Yeah.
in coaching and stuff. But you kind of go with what sounds and feels good to you as far as new experiences and stuff.
Yeah, I think so. I think I've got the benefit of a little bit more time on my hands, I expect, and also the benefit of being a bit older and getting to almost 65. You think of investing as much as you can into your family and making the best life that you can, and that to me is so important. And I'm just on a flow now with carnivore, the diet, all of the aspects of the diet and all the possibilities. It's amazing. And I think I'm learning every day about my body, about the science of what we're doing. And having this amazing tool of the internet now gives us so many resources to doctors and people that can help us. And this kind of thing we're doing today is just so important. Um, I was listening today about, because I do my sprinting, and when you sprint, your fast twitch muscles start working. They work and take over from any other muscle working, and they allow you to have reactions. So as you get older, if you fall, it gives your brain links much better opportunity to help you react. If you want to lift your grandchildren, it makes it much easier. just getting out of the chair quicker. And when I was on my day yesterday, my healthy day with the girls doing meditation, I just noticed that since doing carnivore, I can get up and down off the floor. I jump up and down off the floor. Whereas before I was just struggling. I felt like I had a girdle around my hips.
Oh,
Everything was tight, and I just
you
feel 50 times better.
girl, let me just tell you, most people might not know what a girdle is, right?
Oh,
I know what a girdle is. I know what a girdle is, but some people might not know what it is. But I would liken that to today's, what is it called? Spanx, the
oh
underwear,
yes, yeah,
underwear
the
garments.
yeah.
Okay, girdles was no joke back in the day.
In the Victorian and Edwardian films where they wear like a basque, which
Yeah,
is pinned together, or when you watch programs, I'm sure you get Bridgerton and programs like that in
yeah,
the States.
yeah,
It's where they pulled you together. Well, every morning I'd sit on the side of the bed and think, oh my God, what's going on? My hips, my back had been sore for years. I was going to physiotherapy from 3 different providers to sort it out. Nothing would help.
yeah,
All of a sudden, I believe it's the oxalates in the
yeah.
fruit and veg that I was eating
Well,
that
you
were
know what?
causing.
Let's hit that topic for a few minutes because we did kind of close out on our other conversation talking about the medical establishment, the government,
Yes.
and oxalates. So, would you like to share? Because I listened to Sally Norton's book. It was a little much for me. So, I was like, I'm not even going to try to read it. But I love hearing about oxalates. And I didn't find out about them until maybe 2 years ago,
No.
that they could really have an impact
Mm.
on your health, whereas you're 7, 8, 9 months into the game and you found out about them generally early. So would you like to talk about that? Like, how did it come in for you and what did you learn about them and how it impacted your health so far?
Well, again, I was so angry because I thought I was living the healthy lifestyle. I was having turmeric, black pepper, I was having cinnamon, uh, black chocolate or dark chocolate, the really dark chocolate. I was having the dark chocolate, I was having spinach. You have spinach in the States, don't you? And then I heard that Liam Hemsworth was making spinach smoothies, the actor, and he almost died from having such a high concentration of spinach. And then I heard that there's a herb called sorrel that can make you seriously ill, and people have died from having sorrel, the herb. And these things are growing around us and in our fridge. They're in the refrigerator. We're giving them to kids. And the problem with oxalates is that superfoods especially have oxalates. Star fruits, people die of eating a star fruit. And what in effect happens is similar to if you're a young person smoking. You might smoke and have a couple of cigarettes after school. As you get older, you carry on smoking. When you get older, then you have problems. And this is what happens with oxalates. So all of the young people out there that think they're being trendy by being vegan, this is so scary because this is what they're doubling up on. This is what they're eating so much of. It's not all fruit and veg. Lettuce is okay, but nut milks, almond milks are horrendous. And what happens is with these specific fruit, veg, nuts, they actually crystallize in your joints and sit in parts of your body. And I particularly had a terrible eye situation called blepharitis. And it felt, when I rubbed my eyes, like I had sand in my eyelashes. It was horrible. And I was told I'd never get rid of blepharitis. It's something I'd have to live with. Use drops, and also you've got dry eye. Well, I now know that if I have vitamin A in egg yolks, tinned fish, liver, that's vitamin A, which will keep your eyes moist, and bacon that you were referring to are great for dry eye. So my dry eye's gone. But this blepharitis, it turns out that with oxalates from the specific fruit and veg, they can dump these crystals in different parts of your body. I've also had a dry patch over my eye here, which feels like crystals sometimes. And all of a sudden, this is gone. My blepharitis is gone. No issues at all. But with having years of oxalates and doubling up on things because I thought they were superfoods, these oxalates can sit in your body. And what can happen is they can dump back into areas of your body. So I could, without knowing, suddenly get crystals come back in my eye. People can get crystals coming out of their fingertips. These crystals can appear in over your body. It's quite alarming, the thought of it. It's not with everybody, but some people can have oxalate dumping. And Sally Norton's book, as you say, is so full on with chemical breakdowns, which is what we need. We want the facts and the tests and the trials. So I got it on an audio book. And what I do every night is I put 30 minutes of it on a timer on my Audible, and then it turns itself off. And then every night I turn it on again and listen again, because you need to consume the information. But you do then pick up information, and you suddenly hear bits and nuggets of information that you might miss. But I recommend Sally Norton's book on oxalates. It's quite scary to think this is going on in our body. And one thing also that I noticed yesterday, I listened to a YouTube of this guy who's a botanist, and he was talking about the 10 most toxic plants that we have in the UK, and 2 of them can kill you outright, and they grow by riverbanks, and I go paddleboarding and I didn't even know they existed. And this one particular one looks like a combination of celery sticks and parsley leaves. I thought, I need to know that, but plants can kill you. And even in my garden now, I'm very cautious about not wearing gloves. Since I've been non-plant, non-fruit, non-everything. But what I did do, and I mentioned to you last time, if my berries become ripe, which they've just finished now, I get the odd raspberry, I pick them, and I'll have 3 maybe when they're in season, because I think in nature we were trained to eat berries as well. So that keeps my oxalates more level.
Okay.
And
So
it's
you keep a little
very
bit
complex.
in. You keep what
Yeah,
I'm hearing you say is you keep a little bit of oxalates
yeah.
in your program, but it's
Now and
not
again, yeah,
overwhelming. It's
yeah.
not overwhelming, and you get them in the form of strawberries or
Well,
berries? Berries,
raspberries, yeah,
raspberries.
berries.
Okay.
So now the
Okay.
raspberries are finished. I've got
Okay.
about 5 apples in my baby apple tree. So
Okay.
when they become ripe, I will probably eat an apple because it's there. And my
Yeah.
figs, when they become ripe, I might have 1 or 2 figs. Even though I'm full carnivore, majority of the time, in nature, if it's on the bush or on the tree, that's when you would be meant to eat it. That's the
Okay.
way I use things.
I'm digging it. I'm digging it. So I don't know how much you heard of me chatting away. But
Sorry.
so
Yeah.
since it's been really warm here, exceptionally warm for, a prolonged amount of time, I have my sausages, sausages and
Yeah.
bacon that I was eating wholeheartedly. But with the weather change, I don't know about you, Annie, but depending on what I'm eating, my body will like retain water, and I weigh myself every morning. So it in the span of 5 days, I gained like 7 pounds. Now I know that it's not fat. I know that it's water retention, right? I stopped eating my bacon and my sausage like a bad habit because I'm like, 7 pounds is a
Mm,
lot. You can feel it, right? Just like when you
yeah.
lose 10 or 12 pounds, you can feel it. But I can really feel when I've gained weight, especially water retention and stuff. So I was sharing that 5 of it's gone. So hopefully by tomorrow morning, the other 2 will be gone and I'll be back at my baseline. But it's really alarming that we are so in tune, our body is so fine tuned that it'll respond very
Mm,
quickly, even to things that are in our regular carnivore protocol, like with weather shifts or
mm,
whatnot. And if we're not paying attention to that and removing those, we can think that it's the diet when it's really not the diet.
No,
It's
no.
just because of the heat. And like I said, I'm taking electrolytes during this hotter season, a combination of everything. So had I have not listened and reverted to something else, I would have honestly thought it was the diet. So I'm here to tell you folks that what is working for you is probably going to continue to work. But when the seasons change, there might be some things that you might have to remove and replace
Yeah,
just
and
for that temporary time.
I think people should be aware also that we do have bodily cycles, and those come in numbers of 7.
Mm.
We replace our hair every 7 years. There's
Well,
certain things our body.
expound on that a little bit more, girl.
Yeah,
7.
well, I'm not fully versed on it. I can't quote anybody on this, but I know, and it's a known thing in the UK that your body does have cycles of 7-year cycles, and certain parts of your body can replace your fingernails, your hair in 7-year cycles. If you have, I don't know if you have them there, but cold sores, have you heard of cold sores? Some people that get cold sores get them for 7 years and then they stop and go away. So it's funny you said 7 pounds. Don't know. It might just be you're worrying too much. You're being aware. It's good to be aware, but I don't weigh myself for weeks on end. I don't bother.
Mm.
I measure my arms, I measure my legs, and I measure my tummy, and I go by my clothes because I think I don't want to feel down when there's no need to. But there's also, like you said, you feel bigger, so you've got to be aware. So it's just how we gauge things, but I wouldn't worry too much.
Well, I'm not worried. I use the scale as a part of my daily data. It
Yes,
doesn't,
yes.
so if this were like 7, 8, 10 years ago, it
Mm.
would just ruin my day to see the
Yeah,
pounds go up or down every day. It would mess with my emotional state. But what it does now is I keep myself in a 5-pound realistic range. But that 7 pounds is alarming because I saw it in my feet and ankles, right? I felt it in my abdomen. So I knew that it was fluid retention. And with the smart scale, it does tell you how much water your body has in you, but it didn't mess with me psychologically or
good,
emotionally.
good.
And
Did were you oh,
you're
sorry,
using
sorry.
measurements as your tool. I'm too lazy. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm too lazy to take measurements, but I will hop on the scale and hop off, right? And the
Yeah,
measurements might come maybe every quarter versus, you know,
yeah.
so it's
I
just different
understand, yeah.
strokes. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I use my scale for my visceral fat because that to me is more important. That's the fat around the internal
Mhm.
organs. And that's why I sprint, because the visceral fat can affect your whole body.
Yeah.
So I sprint because of that reason, and I keep an eye on my visceral fat. But it might simply be, having had the bacon, that you've had more salt, and so
Yeah.
you've had more salt and the fluids retained. So that could be why.
With the heat. With the heat.
Yes, with the
Yes.
heat, with sweating,
So,
etc. And
mhm.
electrolytes are so important. But I find that if I eat more fat, I lose more weight.
Mhm.
So
And
I'll
plus
eat butter.
we're more satiated, right? It's like, do I really want more butter? Do I really want more animal fat?
Mm.
It's really good, but I'm done.
I know, too much of a good thing. It's just too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, I mean, but so like I've been eating ribeyes. I don't normally buy them unless they're on sale, quite candidly. So
Yeah,
with
yeah.
this being the July 4th month, I went and racked up on ribeyes. So I've been just eating them like crazy. And I love the fat that comes on them, right? So
Mm.
yesterday I was eating one and I was like, girl, you've had enough salt and fat for right now. You've had enough. So I ate less than I intended, which was good. But I was like, it's so good. And curious, do you ever eat your fat cold? Or do you always
Yes.
like it like you do eat it cold? Good.
Yeah,
The
like
rendered fat.
yeah, when I was a kid, we used to keep all the fat and call it dripping. You call it tallow, but the used fat I keep in a pot all the time, and then all the juices sit at the bottom. and it's just amazing. And we used to have a thing called bread and dripping growing up, where you'd have bread. My dad would get the fat, the tallow, and just spread it all over it's called
Mhm.
dripping, and cover it in pepper and eat bread and dripping.
Oh,
So
that
as a
sounds
kid,
so
this was
good.
healthy. It was
Yeah,
always good for the brain, always good for the collagen, the best thing you can have. And now, thank God, we've seen the light and we've got the revival of
yes.
eating properly. And it's
O
just amazing.
okay, so girlfriend, look, before I forget, because I had to write this stuff down so I wouldn't forget. So, the last time we talked, you introduced or you mentioned 2 meats. One of them was faggots. Let's talk
Faggots.
about this for a minute, and there was
Yeah,
another one with blood something. And you were like, "Have you heard of them?" And I'm like, "No." But of course you explained it just like a really quick
yeah,
thing, and then I went on Google and looked it up and stuff. But can you
yeah.
share with us what it is
Well,
and
do
what
you know
animal it comes from
yeah,
and
do you
how do
know
you
the
prepare
term,
them?
yeah, the term offal? I'm doing this because it's a little parcel. It's known as a bundle of animal, and traditionally in British language, a bundle of sticks was called faggot, and that's where the word faggot comes from. It's a bundle of meats, so it's offal. It's like liver, heart, uh, animal parts of the animal you might not necessarily use, but in medieval times it would have been used because it was part of the animal and it was valuable. And the poor people didn't get to eat animals, so they made sure that they had their offal. So it's actually pieces of the animal. Generally, it can be of beef, it can be pork, it can be of lamb. We have lamb here, which not sure if you have. And it's wrapped in a cowl of fat. And a cowl of fat, and I've just got a picture here to show you. I don't know if you can see this. That is like it's like a stomach lining. So the pieces of the faggot sit together in a ball and they're wrapped in the cowl of fat and then they're cooked in a gravy. And it's a traditional British meal. Same as we have Scotch eggs. You know about Scotch eggs, do you?
No.
Again, I make carnivore Scotch eggs where you boil some eggs, peel them, and then you mix ground beef with liver, chopped liver together, grind it, mix it all up, and I put some of those carnivore panko crispy thingies in, which are like pork rind. Mix it all up, and then coat the egg in it and wrap it in bacon and bake it in the air fryer. And they're called
Oh,
Scotch eggs. And for example, if I travel anywhere, you can take them and eat them cold. So you're getting your beef, you're getting your liver, so you're getting your good foods, and you're
yeah.
getting your egg all in one little parcel.
That sounds so amazing. Both of them actually sound amazing. But with the first one that's wrapped in the netting or does it
The
stay
stomach.
like in a ball and does it stay
Yes.
like in a ball
Yeah.
when you cook it?
Yes,
So,
it does.
okay. So a
Yeah, it stays
serving
like
would
a
be
little
one of
parcel.
those with
Oh,
okay.
well, most men will have 2 or 3. It's as I say, it's like the food that your mum makes, we all
Yeah.
have recipes passed down, don't we?
Yeah.
And, it's just from your
I
own ma,
got
you
you.
you have recipes that you have, and
Yeah.
it's my I was fortunate that my mum always was a good traditional cook, and it was
Mhm.
mostly around meat, so I was
Well,
very lucky.
I never knew my biological mom, and I
Oh,
had a very toxic, to say the least,
oh,
relationship with my stepmother, right? But I do understand what you're talking about recipes because she was Korean, and some of the dishes that she made, I was fond of into my adulthood, right? And I would go to
oh,
different restaurants and buy them and whatnot. But I ate mostly junk food, TV
oh,
dinners,
shame.
and all that stuff growing up. So,
Yeah.
but now my traditional recipes are the ribeye steaks, the boiled
Yeah,
eggs,
amazing.
and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
it is
it's
such simple food, but it's good food.
yeah.
It's lovely to eat carnivore. and just I find it easy. Yesterday, when I was on my retreat day, they laid on a lunch and they said, "Oh, we're doing a Buddha bowl for lunch, and any preferences on dietary requirements?" I said, "I can't eat a Buddha bowl." I said, "I'd much prefer," and they said, "Oh, there's eggs in it." And I suppose it was a bit like a Korean type bowl with egg in. And I said, "No, I just like the boiled eggs, please." Well,
Nice.
I don't think we can go to any whim of a diet. And I said, "Well, no, sorry, I just want boiled eggs." So I took my beef jerky that I make with me. I took it in a tub. And my
Mhm.
girlfriend sat next to me going, "Get your beef out." And she sat there munching on my beef. I took my
Mm.
own tub of butter and my own salt.
You're a
So I had
smart
my boiled
girl.
eggs. And it's just being prepared because I wasn't hungry at all. You never get hungry, do you?
Yeah.
Really. I just felt everyone was having a break. So I felt I should sit and have my fizzy water and eat my boiled eggs, which was easy.
And see, that's the thing also. Like, I eat the one meal a day, and I know you're like 2 meals or more as
Mm.
you need
Yeah.
to eat. But I like to eat at a particular time range, but I'll have my granddaughters from like 1 to 5 or 5:30. So I actually won't eat until about 6:30 tonight.
Yeah.
And so that's about 3 hours, 3 or so hours past my mealtime. So what I'm gonna do is take, do you know those Vienna sausages, like the Libby
Oh,
can?
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna take 3 cans of those with me. Now the girls will have what they have, no big deal. But I'm like, if I'm really hungry, that's my fallback plan until I can make
Yeah.
it home to get my steak and ground beef and eggs.
Yeah.
But you do have to go into certain instances prepared because not everybody's going to be able to accommodate you, and nor should we bow down and accept what they have to give us either, you
No.
know? So, speaking of that, I want to ask you, Annie, do you use a food tracker where you put in your food?
No, no, I don't. I'm happy and confident that I don't have to.
Um,
I have emergency things in the cupboard
yeah.
always. So I have salmon, Arctic salmon in tins,
Mhm.
and I make my own mayo, which is made with liquid butter and eggs.
Mhm.
I blend it together. Um, Again, I also have an emergency carnivore ice cream.
Well, I think you talked about that before, but can you
Mm.
refresh our memory on that?
Yeah, it's lovely. And you just, again, you only have a little bowl, but you can. It's because you can. It's a feel good thing. I use 600 ml of heavy cream, 5 eggs, whites and yolks, whisk up the whites and add some, can't remember the name. Hold on, hold on. Sorry, I'm going to get it.
Oh, she is a professional at this, guys. So, as I had mentioned earlier,
Oh,
yes, I do use a tracker. I love that she doesn't track. Oh, cream of tartar. Okay, cream of tartar.
sorry, cream of tartar. Just add
Uh-huh.
that to the egg whites. Cream of
Yes.
tartar. Add that to the egg whites. Mix it in, and it allows it to become a globuled mix. And then you mix it to the whites. Whisk up the cream, and I use a little bit of xylitol. You don't have to use that. You know what xylitol is, which is from the
Sweetener.
silver birch. It's the
Mhm.
silver birch tree. A little bit of that, and some uh, oh god, essence, vanilla essence, a little bit of vanilla essence, and coconut cream,
Okay.
cream coconut. That before it's mixed with the water in the tin, it's like a cream. Have you seen that? And it's lovely. And I put that in, and it makes the most perfect ice cream.
Okay. I am loving it.
And
Yo,
and I think little treats are good for you.
send me a text or text me a screenshot of that
I shall. Yeah,
when you make it next. And
yeah.
I know the answer to this question, but I've been talking to people in Perth, and it's winter over there. Now, I can probably tell by the way you're dressed, but I don't want to make the assumption it's summer there as well. Yes, where you're
It's
at.
summer here, yes.
Okay. Okay, got it. So, Annie, we're going to close out with maybe two more thoughts. And I want to ask you, what is your absolute favorite way or ways to learn? Because we never stop learning, right? It's a
No.
continual daily.
Oh,
Well,
I
I can actually say that there are people that are okay with not learning anything and just going on with their lives the way it is. But
mm,
you and I, from what I know about you, are lifelong learners. It's a part of our
yeah.
being, it's a part of our DNA. What is your absolute favorite way or ways to learn?
Um, I love doing research on YouTube, and I have a note. Look at this. I'm a note person. I have bits of paper. In fact, I got my husband to buy me something called a Remarkable I just write bits of paper all over. Look.
Hmm.
And if I hear something, see something, I write it down and then I condense it into a book. I mean, this is travel now. Pulling my headphones out. Hang on a second. This is my travel notes.
Oh,
So when I go
Lord.
somewhere new, I just make notes. And I just find that I love learning. So yeah, if I'm in bed, I always have a notebook by the bed if I hear anything. And I always, if I wake up at night, I can put my phone onto YouTube or to a podcast and
Yeah.
listen to some
Yeah.
information. So I am loving the fact that we have now got all of this knowledge free for us to access, and I'm very happy about that.
Nice, nice. And I love learning in the sense that ever since I was a child, I would always read, 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 but it was also a
Mm,
form of escapism, right? And as I
yes,
got
yeah,
older and social media like the YouTube and other things became more available, I use Audible as first
yes,
line defense versus actually reading the book now because of lifestyle changes and whatnot. So I
mm,
love podcasts. I love YouTube. I love reading also. And connecting with others is a way for me to grow and learn as well.
yeah.
But do you remember Encyclopedia Britannica? What is it?
Oh,
Encyclopedias. That was the
got
way that we
a
actually
whole
had to
set.
learn. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
and
when
it's
they were like
great.
an astronomical price
Yeah,
and, going to the library was an actual thing, using these encyclopedias as points of reference, all this good stuff. So, yeah, researching and doing it, it's just like, let's do that. So, do you
it's
remember
lovely.
those? I know you do,
Yeah,
girl.
I've got a
Yeah.
whole set. I've got a whole set in my
Oh my
loft. I only
word.
saw them the other day, and I get them down for my grandson because I think
Okay.
it's important that kids have these books. And
Yeah.
it's can I just give you some little pointers of the things that I truly believe that make you not a better person, but someone that's more rounded.
You
Would
mean
you
me
like to hear?
personally or
No,
in
no,
general?
my guidelines on life.
Well, okay,
Would you
so
like to hear
what
them?
I'm hearing you say is that you wanna share some of your guidelines on improving your
Yes,
life. Okay,
yes.
got it. Okay, because I was like, "Girl, how you gonna check me on the air?" I'm like, "What?
No, and
Okay,
the
you're
reason
talking
I'm saying this is
okay.
because
Yes, absolutely.
I
Go for it.
part of it is always learning. So stay active and never retire. Take it slow and leave urgency behind when you can. Surround yourself with good friends. And by the time you get to my age, you know who your good friends are. Be fitter for your next birthday. And that is a big thing with me. I always think I'm 65 coming up. I want to be able to do this, 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 or this. And mostly it involves pulling, pushing, doing exercise. Smile. Always smile. And when I was a lecturer, I used to say that to my students. I said the most important thing is to smile when you're in, because I was teaching in hospitality. Embrace nature. Taste, smell, and just take in all the senses. Be grateful every day. Do something new every month. Eat carnivore. Sprint and cold dips. Always learn and improve your mind. That's so important. Deep breaths when you need to, whether you feel anxious or you just want to calm down or you just want to be in you. Mindful movement. And do you remember, this is your homework? What was it called that I told
Well,
you last week? The
oh my
Japanese
gosh. Yeah, X opposite exercise.
opposite
Mhm,
exercise. Yeah.
mhm.
So make
Yeah.
mindful movements when you walk down the stairs. Engage your muscles, take it slow, and just use muscles as you go.
That is beautiful. That's a whole encyclopedia right there, girl. We could write a book on that. So that is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing for me is with anybody, regardless of your protocol, regardless of your age, is to stay engaged in your own life. Put your life
Yes.
preserver on every day. Be an advocate because we're all at different points in our ages and what we prefer in our
Definitely.
careers and stuff, but you have to stay actively engaged. And whatever that engagement means for you, pursue it with all your heart because I
Yeah.
don't want you to be 50 like I was, broke down and trying to figure life out, or even at
Mm.
57, turning 57, and Annie's turning 60. How did you say 65? 4?
65. Yeah.
Yeah.
65.
We don't want you to be at our age trying to figure it out and get it just right. If you're listening at 50 or 45, work on staying involved in your own life and self-care.
Yeah.
So, Annie, do you have a fun fact that you can share, just randomness off the top of your head? Anything like for me, a random fun fact, because I love these, is like the 10,000 steps that we are suggested to take every day. Where did that stem from, right? So that was back, I want to say in the late 60s, somewhere over in Japan, whatever, yada yada yada.
Mm.
They were coming up with a pedometer device to track your steps or count your steps, and it was during the Olympics and whatnot. And they came up with 10,000 steps
Mm.
because the way they wrote it, it looked like 10,000. So that's what,
Yeah.
and there,
That's
and I'm
right.
like, where do all these myths come from? Like a 1,200 calorie diet, which we can go into another conversation when we talk next month. But I mean, I always like to look up, where do these random facts come from? Why is my thing set for 10,000? Why is it factory set for 10,000? Don't
Yeah.
dictate to me how many steps to do. But when you really research some of these myths where we start or random facts, you're like, that doesn't apply to me. So what about
No.
you? Do you have a random fun fact or something that you could share with us?
I think a random fact. Uh, I suppose the fast twitch that I
Yeah.
learned about today is interesting, but I like to make sure I do research and follow who's actually brought in this information and cited by who. And I think that's the nice thing that we can get on YouTube, is that if Dr. Berry talks about a, a research he's found, he tells you where it's come from. And I just think everything I'm learning at the moment is a really good fun fact, because
Yeah.
it just, you go, that aha moment. Because when I used to teach, I used to have the kids make sure I gave them an aha moment every time I taught them, because then I realized we've got a say in the UK called the pennies dropped.
Okay.
That's a
Okay.
ah. And when you've got a room full of students at university and they actually give you your attention, that's amazing.
Mhm. Okay.
So when you get
Okay.
the aha moment, that's so important. And I think just understanding that people need to be justified in what they're learning and how, and what gives them the evidence. And when I listened to Dr. Shane O'Mara today, Sean O'Mara
Mhm.
today, talking about sprinting, he explains it in such a way that it helps with fighting cancer, it helps the T cells, it gives you the fast twitch so your reactions are better. And it makes you think, yeah. And when I go out, because I don't jog, I sprint. And when I listen for his arguments for sprinting rather than jogging, I see all these sweaty people going by me going, that really, you can tell, are not enjoying what they're doing. I just think, I'm doing my 10 sprints. I go
Mhm.
home. I'm not sweaty. I'm done. And my heart rate is boom. And I even get
Right.
my little 2-year-old grandson to do it too. I'll
Oh,
say,
I
come
love
on,
it.
Rex, we're going to run to that sign over there and we're
Yep.
going to sprint. And then he stands there and I put his hand on his heart and his little heart's going boop, 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 boop. And then we
Mhm.
slow,
Mhm.
wait for you to slow and then run again. And I did that last week with him for about 40 minutes and he loved it.
They keep us young, don't they?
Oh,
They keep us
definitely.
young.
And to
Girl,
him, that'll be normal.
right, but girl, I'm telling you, these little people in our lives keep us young.
Amazing,
They can either
amazing.
keep us old and guessing, or they can keep us young trying to
Yeah,
keep up, right?
definitely, definitely. And lifting them up is like a
Right,
workout.
right.
And it's
All right.
great. And it's embracing that and
Yes.
everything we do, embrace what we have.
All right. So, Miss Annie, I think we're going to connect again in a
Yeah,
month.
thank
I
you,
forget what
darling. Yes,
the exact date
six,
is, but is there any
16th, I think.
yeah, so maybe just about a month exactly. Is there anything that you're doing between now and then that you want to share, or what's going to be going on for you in the next month
Oh, I'm
that you have?
taking my friend Angela and I are taking our grandchildren camping.
Ooh, out in the woods?
Yeah, we did it last couple of years and it's amazing. So
Oh,
we're going to be doing that in August.
okay.
And having a slow summer at home this year. Hopefully we'll get some decent weather soon because it's not been that brilliant. And
Okay.
yeah, I've got a few bits going on, so I shall fill you in when I next see you.
Okay.
The next episode in the
Yeah.
life of Andy.
Well, it's gonna be pretty slow here too. I'm working on some projects that are just like, checklist projects and stuff,
Yeah.
nothing overly major. And I'll be with the girls for 6 days in Hawaii 5 days in Hawaii,
Oh,
and, we can chat
wonderful.
about our grandchildren,
Oh, how
camping,
lovely.
and all that good
Yeah.
stuff in Hawaii. But anyway, so when I end this live stream, it cuts you and me off. There's no pause on this one. So I
Okay.
wanna say, continue to do your thing, boo, and, thank you so much for riding with me on this live stream, and I truly appreciate you.
And if
Alright.
anyone's got any questions, Rose, don't
Mhm.
forget, let them have my email.
Yeah, so it should be in the show notes. So you know what I'm
Yeah.
doing. These are live, and then I'm
Yeah.
re-uploading them after I edit them and
Fantastic.
stuff like that.
Thank
So I'm
you,
getting
Rose.
skilled at that. All right, love, you take
Thank
care of
you,
yourself.
Coach Rose. Woo woo.
All right, girl, take care of yourself, boo.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.